Alright, hello, Apprentice 1215 here, and you are?
Myself, why do you ask?
Okay, that's Assorted Nerds Productions, and you?
Food Inc., I suppose.
Right. So, we are here to record commentary for Transformers vs. Lego Star Wars Revenge of the Fallen. Which, it's been a little more than a month, and I thought it'd be fun to do some commentary for it. So, here we are.
Yep.
Probably the lamest commentary ever done.
We are commenting.
More than likely.
So, let's see here. How long? It took me about 13 months to make this film in total, between filming and, but yeah, the whole filming period. I think it took me about 13 months to do all that, and then, not to mention having to, get voices done for you guys. Excuse me, and doing voices with you, and I'm getting all the cast. Completing their lines and stuff. So, but the end result, I think, turned out very good. I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, I'd say so. I can like the end sequence, which all you don't get to see yet. So
Right. Well, it's not like there's going to be very many people watching this video because no one ever watches my videos. They'll probably only get 5 views at the most. But
it's okay. Everyone's special.
yeah, it's funny you bring that up since we just saw the Lego movie. But
Yep.
so, let's see here. I was, of course, the majority of the people in this film, but Kyle, you had a large-ish, I'd say Lumpy has a large role in the film.
Yeah.
He's a very fun character to write because he's nuts, yet he always knows what he's doing, even if no one else does.
No limitations on possibilities.
Right. Always, he's always kind of doing his own thing while going with what everyone else does.
Most of the time.
Right. And let's see, you didn't really have that many. You just kind of played some side characters. You were Mudflap, and that's really your biggest role in this film. But
Sunstreaker.
327.
Yeah. I enjoyed the 327 lines.
Right, even though you didn't do very many of them. So really to start commenting on the film itself, like this beginning section, this was the first stuff I did back in, I think it was November 2012 when I started doing this, and I just made this first, 8 minutes or so as just a test to see if it would work, and I was going to refilm the sequence here with Unicron and Vector Prime, but I thought it turned out so good that I decided to keep it, and then 3 months later I thought, it's actually not that great, but I kept it anyway. So, and then this sequence was filmed before I had the filming tables, as I was just using a little desk meant for computers at the time. But in TF vs. LSW4, Vector, of course, is based off of Jetfire from the Transformers Revenge of the Fallen movie, with the whole, old person and kind of senile and always aching about stuff breaking, and then what I thought was fun about TF vs. LSW4 is that, of course, we brought in Vector, but then, unlike in Revenge of the Fallen, he had a partner. We put Scourge as his partner. Kind of, I'd say Scourge in TF vs. LSW4 was more based off of his Cybertron counterpart than his G1 because, he transformed into the Dragon. And did you? Let's see, if I remember correctly, you were Scourge.
Yeah, I was Scourge.
So, which I ended up killing off.
Yeah. Scourge
and Vector in the last 5 minutes of the film or so. Just like, yeah, you're right, because Because I killed off Vector, Vector and Scourge. Scourge was something of your creation that I asked you to build for the film, and I killed him off. And then in this film, Enderstorm, I killed off because I think the reason I kind of did that is because for Scourge's part anyway, the film needed a bit of emotional depth. More, the state of urgency and stuff, like, that when everyone's dying, it just seems like, how do I put it? Yeah. It just seems that, well, God, I don't really know how to put it, but...
As close to reality as you can get with Lego?
Yeah, I suppose that's it, but don't mess with that. Then for Enderstorm, he had a very small role in the film. He just kind of served as a dropship for the clone troopers, and and the reason I kind of killed him off is that for any future projects that he may that these characters may or may not return, and I didn't want to have to keep borrowing him from you. So that's kind of why I killed him off then.
Title logo.
Yes, title logo, which with 80s music. But when people do it, whether it's people working on Transformers Prime or fans doing their own films like this, you always have to stay true to the stuff that's there, and so I always pay homage to that stuff. So that's why I used the music from the G1 movie here for the intro, and what you just found there, Chaim, are all the scripts I used. And
yeah, they weigh about 10 pounds.
Yeah, because the script itself was 183 pages. So, with all the scripts that I had to print out. There ended up being a lot of scripts printed out, but
half of which never actually got used. So.
Well, I think most of the film actually was. I dropped very little from the initial scripts. Most of it actually ended up being what I wanted it to be, and then there were a couple things that I kind of made up as I went along, which we'll discuss later. But there's a couple deleted scenes because two of them in the script I thought that they didn't really need to be there. They didn't really help advance the plot any. They were just kind of filler, and I kind of figured the film was going to run long anyway, so I cut them out. 2 or 3 of them actually didn't even get filmed, but most of it turned out pretty much the way I wanted it to. So now we're kind of in the main film here, and I did not realize it until late in the production cycle, but every time I put Tatooine up on the screen I misspelled it.
Congratulations, Grammar Nazi.
Yes, so that's kind of bad for me because I'm a big grammar Nazi, but here I really like this sequence because we've got the phony TV instead of a Sony TV. It's kind of a in-joke there. Just it rhymed with the actual product, and I thought it was funny. But and then you could hear originally this scene was supposed to be 2 clones talking. Yeah, I know, kind of.
That's his head. What's the his head?
But originally this scene with Mike and this clone here was originally supposed to be 2 clones. Excuse me. But it was originally supposed to be 2 clones sitting there, but I ended up changing that because Mike did not. Mike, he's been a main character through all these films, and he wouldn't have been in it until 20 minutes of the film, we would have just seen all like Lumpy and Commander Guy and everyone, and then all of a sudden, boom! Hey, there's Mike. Where has he been? So I changed up the script a little bit and made it to where Mike was in that room.
A little bit of a switcheroo.
Yeah, but it makes a little more sense there. And then this is still a lot of early footage because I filmed most of this in order, but you can tell what's early and what's not from the lack of filming tables. And then this scene in particular, it's kind of tricky because I filmed it and voiced it, and then I had most of it edited, and then I had all the voices done, and I did Lumpy's voice just as a just kind of a stand-in until I could have you until I got you to record dialogue, and then when I did that, I had to take out my lines and then reinsert yours, and so there's a couple pauses here, kind of extra long pauses, and that's because of that, which I couldn't really fix that too much without having to completely scrub it and restart, and I had like 5 minutes of film right there, and I didn't want to do that, so call me lazy, but
Lazy.
okay, well, you did. But,
You asked for it.
well, that's true, I did. And here is Megatron's mighty throne, which is really pathetic, if you ask me. I'm not very happy with the way it turned out. I should have done something more with that throne, but I just didn't. I just wanted to get stuff filmed, so I didn't take a lot of time with it. And the fast action battler's Megatron, he was kind of in a bad way because you can't really ever see it here in the film, but there's a crack running along his side. And at one point during filming, he actually completely fell apart, to where the front and the back of his chest kind of separated, and then his arm came off. Yeah, but so thankfully that was near the end of filming for these particular scenes, so it didn't really matter that much. So actually, I ended up kind of breaking two figures for this film. The first one being, of course, this Megatron that kind of fell apart, but then again, he is a couple years old. And the second one is the fallen figure, because later in the film, when Optimus goes for the "Give Me Your Face" move, when I had to take off his face, his head actually became dislodged completely from a part that's not supposed to come off. So I keep meaning to super glue it back, but I haven't yet. So I'm gonna have to do that, but it's kind of a whoopsie there. Yeah. Now, from the first time I saw Knockout in Transformers Prime, I knew he was going to be one of my favorite characters, just from the cool sports card mode, and so when I kind of began story ideas that, I came up with the basic storyline early on, like 5 years ago. Yeah, but through the years I throw out ideas, bring in new ones. I have to determine what I want to use, what I don't. And so then, when I kind of started to go in and get the story going to say this is what I want, this is what I don't want, this is what I'm definitely going to use. I knew I wanted Knockout to be in there somewhere because he's just such a fun character from Transformers Prime. And then. And around the time I was thinking of that, I discovered the Transformers animated reruns on the Hub. And I thought, oh, Lugnut and Blitzwing, how fun would they be to have in there? And Lugnut had been in TF vs. LSW3 with kind of I wouldn't say substantial role, but he was in there. And then he was in it for like 2 seconds in 4.